Throughout the whole day, we've been talking about delivery and we've been hearing some amazing tips and tricks on how we can improve our delivery as speakers. But one very important factor is how we actually set up our machine, how we set up PowerPoint. So this is a topic that Troy Chollar, our next speaker, is going to cover. Troy has been a PowerPoint MVP for quite some time, and he runs a studio, TLC Creative, which does a lot of presentations, events, and much more. So, hi, Troy.
Hello, how are you, Eva?
I am doing very well, very excited to have you here with us.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is great. Just to confirm, everybody's seeing my slides now because I don't have a preview.
Just a sec, we'll make sure they see them.
Okay, great.
Yes. Yep.
Let me know when to start.
Yep, we see everything. The stage is yours.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, Eva, for the introduction. I now realize I should have probably put some more information on this slide. So as you heard, I'm Troy Chollar. I'm the co-founder and president of TLC Creative Services. I have been an MVP awarded by Microsoft for 17 years now. So I've been entrenched in PowerPoint for use by presenters for a long time. We're best known for working with live events and using PowerPoint on the big screens and kind of doing a lot of technical stuff that really it wasn't designed to do. I have a long-running blog. I invite everybody to thepowerpointblog.com, and I invite everyone to join us for my podcast, which is the Presentation Podcast, which Nolan Hames, Sandy Johnson, and myself collaborate on. We're mainly talk about presentation stuff. As a matter of fact, Boris Herstoff of 356 Labs and the Present to Succeed conference here was a guest just in February, and sneak peek. We are recording pretty much right after this event, and that is our next, so Tuesday, the next episode comes out, and it's all about this conference and our experience there. Okay, let's dive into things. So I do have a lot to cover, limited time. I do have a stopwatch running, so hopefully keep me on track here, Eva.
Yeah,
my first
absolutely.
is...
By the way, for everyone who is watching, you already saw Nolan in his session. You already saw Sandy in her session with Echo. So I can also urge you to go and listen to the Presentation Podcast because it's a fantastic source of fantastic resource for anything presentation. So Troy and the team there are behind it. So it's a fantastic work that they do.
It's fun. It's a passion project. There is no financials to it, and we're in our 5th year. It's kind of gone crazy. We started as a 6-month experiment.
Yeah.
Okay. Limited time here, so I got to tell you where I'm coming from, just so everybody can understand. I use Microsoft Office 365, so all the features and settings that are in there are what I'm talking about. They may not be in earlier versions. I'm also Windows based because we deal with corporate clients that are primarily Windows. We have a ton of Macs, but they're not what we work in, and there are some differences between Windows and Mac PowerPoint still. I personally use at least 2 monitors. Today I've got 3 around me for when I'm virtual presenting. So a lot of my tips are kind of geared towards that, and the setup, as you'll see. I do have some 1 monitor tips at the very end that are incredibly helpful if you're going to do a presentation, virtual presentation. And it's not critical, but I always have a PowerPoint remote. The reason being, I don't want to be tethered to the keyboard. I don't want to have to, I could run over there and grab something, or I can keep my hands away from the keyboard because bad things happen when you push the wrong key. So I like to use a remote when possible. Okay, 18 computer setup and PowerPoint settings, and everything is geared to make life better for the presenter. So, and it's hard to limit it to 18 topics, actually. This was not a stretch. It was hard to keep it down. I'm going to say that I have everything here as a PDF, so you don't need to take screen captures or whatnot if you don't want to. The PDF, I believe, at the end of the presentation will be available for everybody. Let's start off with this. I've divided into 3 topics. I had to somehow organize myself. We're going to talk again about the computer, Windows-based. We're going to talk about PowerPoint, which will be all platforms. And then like a week ago, I suddenly added this 3rd topic. And what I did is I split off 4 of the topics that are kind of PowerPoint based. And I talked about how to do virtual presenting because they're questions I constantly get. Okay, moving into this. We're going to start with 7 computer setup recommendations. So the first one on computer is 7 of these tips. Really quick, this is where I'm sitting right now. The laptop is connected to a Thunderbolt dock, so I have dual monitors, a full-size keyboard. external microphone. I actually have 3 different types of cameras. So if something goes wrong, Eva's going to jump in and say, hey, the camera went wrong, and I'll jump to the other. Let's see here. So I'm using the DSLR camera. I have a webcam here, which are ones we send around to presenters. And obviously I have the one built in the laptop, high res. I have multiple headsets, multiple speakers. I'm fortunate that both are Design Studio and this rate. Nope. Well, I'll move on to this one. Everything has a 1 gigabit internet, which has kind of become critical. These are some of the workstations we have around our Design Studio. We call them broadcast stations or the broadcast studios, all super high performance computers. They're dedicated to presentation graphics only. As you can see, the backgrounds are very plain on these. They are not personal. Reason I'm saying all this is we have a fleet of like 30 plus travel and show computers. They're both Windows and Mac. There's several tablets and other devices. Yeah, in addition to all that, the reason to show these to give context, all of my tips here, they're not just me saying, hey, this is a cool thing. These are things that we do for an entire company. Our company-wide fleet of computers, which ranges somewhere around 60 devices, is what all of these are going to be used for. So there's a lot of thought put into these and a lot of hard-earned experience. Okay, we have to start with this. You've got to be kidding me setting. We're going to talk about power. We have, I'm at 30 to 60 events each year and work with literally hundreds of presenters, where I get to see hundreds of presenters from the backstage view. And I cannot count the number of times a computer has gone to sleep. It starts the screensaver, or it just died while the person was presenting because they did not set up their computer power settings for presenting. I mean, it is a thing. The default Windows power settings are not what you want. Same thing for the Mac. You are going to have to modify those if you're going to do a presentation. As example, so here's what I'm going to do. Instead of jumping in and out of slideshow, which I will be doing a fair amount for all these Windows things, I did screen captures, which is great because the PDF will show you exactly what I'm looking at. But what I do is I go down to the search bar here, and I'm using a very small mouse. I apologize. I meant to make that much larger. You're going to type search for power settings. Open up the power and sleep settings. My recommendation is we're going to kind of skip all the settings here, and we're going to go down to the bottom. We're going to click that additional power settings link. This is the Windows 10 version. They're trying to make life easy. We want to get to some details. When you get into that one, see, it's still called power and settings in the top corner. It's just, a little bit more robust option. You have profiles built into it, and don't use the built-in one. We're going to then click change plan settings. There's a process to all this. There's a couple of things here. First of all, this one's the most important because we are always going to present with the computer plugged in. We're never going to do it on battery because there is a difference between plugged in and battery options, including your graphics card can be a lower power, lower performance. So always plug in. We're going to now go to change the advanced power settings. And this is like totally geeky. It's going to get way, way more exciting after this. We are now in, I think this legacy dialog we're looking at now is like from Windows 98. We just kept kind of going back in time, but this is the one that lists off all of the options. And there's 2 areas to look at. Now, here's where the PDF gets really important because I don't want to spend the time to talk through all these. Everything listed here, these are the settings that we change or modify from the defaults. So get the PDF, it'll list off all these. I mean, there's a ton more in there, but the key is don't go with the Windows default if you're going to be presenting using your computer. If you're setting up a show computer other people are going to use, just set these up and leave them there. Okay. This one is really interesting. This is kind of a PowerPoint thing, but it's also a computer setting thing. So I put it up here in this section. So now we're into some fun PowerPoint stuff. Take note that the video hopefully doesn't look super bright white. This only applies if you have a computer with an NVIDIA graphics gaming chip. Those are really the only computers we have here. The only thing we have that doesn't have a discrete graphics card would be like the Microsoft Surfaces, and we love them, but they're not show computers for us. Looking at this slide, the slide background is pure white, but the video looks gray and not bright white. It's not the video. The video is white. NVIDIA is the problem. From what I can tell, it's their default, NVIDIA's default, and what I can also tell you is that every time we do a major NVIDIA update, every time they release one, we have to go in and reset this setting that we're going to talk about right now. So it's like every 2 months, we're looking at this same setting again and again. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to right click on our desktop and go to NVIDIA control panel. If you don't see it there, it's because you either have the other graphics card or you just have the Intel shared memory graphics card. You're going to go to the video section. I'm going to blow this up in just a second here to make it bigger. And we're going to go to what's called with video player setting. So let's get this a little bigger here. So now we're in that video section, and the default there says with the video player settings and the advanced, which is the key, it's grayed out. But it also says the word limited. What limited means is we're not going to do pure white and we're not going to do pure black. I don't know why you do this. I'm assuming it's a gaming thing to make performance better, but it bugs the heck out of me because we all use videos in PowerPoint now. And a lot of times they're pure white areas and you're trying to make them blend into your slide. They don't. Here's the fix. It's really, really easy. You're just going to use the NVIDIA settings, and you're going to take this little thing right here. Oh, I got to click to bring it up. You now have a choice, and you're going to say use the full color range. So full is color range. 0 to 255 means pure white to pure black. And what should happen now is now you have your video play. Your pure whites are pure white, and you can't tell the difference between slide and video in this example. It's an annoying thing. I see it all the time when presenters are presenting, and they got a really cool slide, but it just doesn't look, it either doesn't look pure white or pure black, and you can tell. So there's a computer setup tip that affects PowerPoint presentations. Okay, time to get a little bit geeky. A presentation designer, I had to have some fun with the slide setup for this. We're going to talk about computer monitors. So my next series of sets are all about presenting with monitors here. So tip number 3, what is your audience going to see when you leave slideshow? At some point, everyone leaves slideshow for some reason, whether they want it or not, and the audience is going to see your computer desktop. Do you have personal photos, funny photos, something not appropriate? I mean, I see hundreds of presenters each year. I have seen lots of things that should not be seen by an audience. So let's think about the background here. My recommendation, find a nice abstract image, set it as the computer desktop. It's really easy. I'm going to demonstrate it in just a moment here. The next best is using a solid color or gradient filled colors. They're just presets in Windows and Mac. It's really, really easy to do. And you can change back to your favorite personal photos after the presentation. I do have a recommendation here. Do not use black as your background color. It sounds great, but an AV team, like at this conference, there's an AV person managing what you're seeing, the layouts and whatnot. Black is the universal something is not working color, and they will assume that your computer is not connected, it is not set up, something has gone wrong. Don't make the AV team stress out because they will not be helping you in that case. Okay. What if this is your desktop? You set the cool abstract backgrounds. Everyone has this desktop. Somebody in this audience has this. Let's you've got this massive amount of icons everywhere, and it helps you. I don't personally understand it. This makes me break out into hives like this. But fear not, you're 3 clicks away from making this presentation ready. You ready for this? So there's our little desktop. We're going to make it cleaned up. You're going to right click somewhere on the desktop that's not an icon. Find it, right click, and go to the word view. In the view, there is an element there called show desktop icons. The check mark is what you want to uncheck. When you uncheck it, every icon is now hidden. They have not disappeared. We did not magically organize your computer. We just simply made them not available. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to end up with something like this, just 2 nice empty computer screens. So if the audience has to see it, there will be no ramifications, no laughter, no losing your credibility. You just repeat that process to put all your icons back invisible. Okay, now let's talk further about the desktop because this is cool. We have abstract images. They're nice. They're great. My 5th recommendation is to request from the conference a theme graphic. Say, hey, a 16:9 graphic. Use it as your desktop background. You look professional. Trust me, the conference will adore you. And the audience, they'll just see more branding. Side note, I created this graphic. It's not from the Present to Succeed team. They're in the background going, what is that? Sorry, guys, I did not follow my own notes. I didn't reach out to you soon enough. So I put something together as a graphic designer. Hopefully you like it. But I'm trying to make a point is that, there is usually a theme graphic. It's a great element to use. And we're going to revisit this a little bit later. Okay. Tip number 6. See, you didn't even see it, but I did a slide change, but my notes changed. And it tells me that we're going to talk about dual monitors, which I highly recommend. And the Windows default is at the bottom of it, the taskbar, it's shown on all monitors. That's just Windows default. They're trying to be helpful, but as a presenter, that is not helpful. So, I mean, we don't want the audience being distracted, looking down at that taskbar, seeing what applications you have installed, what's running, what time zone you're located in, because for this conference, I think everybody's in different time zones. We're a few clicks away from taking care of this for a presenter. Again, go back to the search area, search for taskbar settings. There's a area called multiple monitors. And then there's one that literally says, you're going to turn off the one that says show taskbar on all monitors. The naming is a little bit wrong, in my opinion. What it's saying is just leave the taskbar on my primary monitor, number one only. So what you end up with is taskbar on your monitor, your work computer, your laptop or whatnot. And then the one where you're going to do your presentation, there's no taskbar. So the audience doesn't have to see it. PowerPoint doesn't have to cover it. There's just a simplification there. You've now set up things for the audience. It makes your life as a presenter better. Okay, last tip in this category, looking at my time, I am going to continue at this pace. This happens. We don't want it to happen. I'm going to demonstrate this afterwards. This is where I'm going to escape out of slideshow. Here's the scenario. You're presenting. You need another file from your computer while you're presenting. So you go to a slide like this one where you know you're going to be sitting on the slide for a little while and you're really cool. You click the Windows key because you know the taskbar is only going to show up on your computer now. It's not going to show up for the audience. So that's cool. And you click the File Explorer button. And what happens is, boom, you have a File Explorer now over top of your slide. So the audience is seeing it. It's like it's an ARG moment. You want to, how do you get rid of this? We want to very quickly get this thing out of here, hopefully without moving your mouse around. There is a very fast keyboard shortcut to do this. So let me explain it. Then we're going to jump out and kind of demonstrate this one because I think I use this feature for all kinds of needs. Okay, the secret is you're going to hold down the Windows key and you're going to use the left or right arrow. When you see that something has popped up, it can be an application, it can be a Windows dialog like I had. Don't click on anything else because if you click anywhere else, the focus is lost on that element over here. So quickly hold down the Windows key and just mash the left or right arrow. It's going to move it magically across the screen. It's kind of a hidden Windows feature, and it's a great thing for a presenter. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to I have now brought this up on the screen. Everybody should be seeing it. And I'm going, oh, crud, what do I want to do? So I'm going to hold the Windows key down. I'm going to, whoa, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to hold the Windows key. Left arrow makes it go to the left half. I'll put it back. I can make it go to the right half. But the point is, I can quickly move it to another screen. I'm seeing it over here on this screen now. It's not over here on the screen you guys are seeing. I'm not using my mouse. You're not seeing me fumble around. It's instantaneous. Here, I'll bring it back really quick. Boom, it's up, it's centered, it's left, it's out of there. Windows arrow key is awesome for this type of need. Let's see here. Let's move on. Oh, again, PDF. It'll remind you what this is. No mouse movement on the screen is the important part here. Let's get ourselves back in so we can move our... Okay, you know what I'm going to do, Eva? I'm going to stop because I'm getting ready to go into the PowerPoint section. If there's been any questions, I'll answer them now. And I do have a whole section at the end as well. Just trying to be mindful of time.
No particular questions, but here in the chat, a lot of people are agreeing with you that they've been seeing some of these mistakes that you're showing, and they're super grateful that you're showing them how to fix them. Maybe a question that came in is around if you have actually two monitors that are
yes.
That are the same brand but different model. How do you calibrate them? What is the best way to calibrate them?
Ooh, okay, so that's really tricky. There is a Chollar Rite, R-I-T-E. It's a little stick-on. It's a USB module that sticks onto each monitor, and it actually takes color readings, temperature reading. It runs through it has a little app, and we calibrate our monitors back and forth. Because we haven't been in the studio, I can safely say that nobody has calibrated their monitors in over a year. And the other thing is a presentation. It doesn't matter what your monitor looks like. You're going to be sending the signal out, and the calibration is only for your local monitor. So if it's a virtual presentation or you're going to a projector, it's more about calibrating the projector. I mean, I love our shows because we actually have projectionists. They're actually techs that are responsible for making sure color accuracy is there. LED walls are a whole different thing. But there is a little USB called, I believe it's called Chollar Rite. I know it's R-I-T-E. It's a USB-based thing. It's Mac and Windows-based, and it's pretty cool. You put it on each monitor. It creates a custom profile is the key.
Awesome. Great. So we can get back to you. In the meantime, guys, if you have any questions, you know the drill. Go to the Q&A section, post them there. We're going to be back again and make sure we answer some of these.
All right. We're going to move into category 2 here, which is PowerPoint. That's what we're all about here. Obviously, I work more in PowerPoint. We use Google Slides, we use Keynote, we use other apps, but I'm going to speak specifically to PowerPoint. I think it's the most used presentation app out there, and I've got 7 PowerPoint setup tips. So tip number 1 in this category is the first and last slide. So again, this is as a presenter. Really doesn't matter to the audience or your printouts, but it does make a difference as you're presenting. So 4 slides, make the first and last the exact same slide. Make it a safe, no real content type of slide, like the talk title or back to that conference theme would be good. There are a number of reasons why. The biggest one is that the home and end buttons on your keyboard will instantly get you to a safe slide. As example, you bring up a data point and the conversation with the audience, the interaction suddenly goes in a whole different conversation route. What you have on the slide behind you is kind of distracting and not really relevant. I recommend hitting the home or the end key and getting to a safe slide. And then you can use the, if you're in presenter view, you can use your slide sorter view to get back, or if you know what slide you're on. As example, I know I'm on 36, I could, enter 36, enter, and I'll jump back to the slide. Again, AV teams are your friends until they're not, and you're the one that usually makes the problem. The B key, as example, I went black. Hey, I'm going to make it so people don't have to look at that slide. The AV team just had a heart attack. They are looking at like, oh crap, we've lost the signal. Something is wrong. Black is great if it's just you. When there's anybody else on a tech team, black is not your friend because they assume everything is wrong. White is the other key, the W. I'm just using the B and the W keys. These are built into PowerPoint. White is really great. If you're doing a live presentation, I could say never, ever do this. If you're working on one of my shows where I've got a 45-foot wide, I don't know how to convert that to metric. I'm American. I didn't think this through. If I've got a huge screen and I hit the white key and I'm standing in front of it and there's a camera trying to capture me, I've now created a huge backlight. I'm just a giant silhouette. The front row people are blinded because it's so bright. When we're using projection, we're using double stacked 20,000 lumen projectors. So those are not your friends. I personally endorse doing this and using those home and end keys. Okay, let's go one step further, kind of creating a safety net for us as presenters. We're going to take that first slide and we're going to export it as an image. To do that, we want to create a 1920 by 1080 standard high resolution PNG image, and here's how we're going to do it. And I know add-ins been talked about before. This is from PP Tools. This is one of my favorite go-to add-ins. It's called Image Export, and I will take a side note to say this is a paid-for add-in. We pay to use this add-in. We're going to just simply click on the PP Tools toolbar. This is all within PowerPoint. I'm going to click Export Slides. It's going to bring up the dialog you see over here. I'm going to choose PNG as my file format. I'm going to pick which slide I want. So in this case, I want the first slide, so slide 1:1. And then I'm going to say my resolution, 1920. It'll give me 1080 because that's the aspect ratio. When I do that, I'm going to get an image, a full-size resolution image. I will also say that Bright Slide, that's probably been referenced several times during this conference, I've heard it at least twice, they have an export and save selected slides as new file. Nope, that's not the right one because I think that creates new PowerPoint files now that I'm reading it. They have one that'll export it as well. It's within theirs. It's a few more clicks. It's a little different setup. Maybe it's just because I've used the PP Tools ones forever. I really like this workflow. But the key is, and then you're going to click OK. The key is we have this image here, and this is me looking at the image in File Explorer. It tells me that it's a PNG, which I prefer over a JPEG because there's no dithering. The text looks nice and crisp, and it's 1920 by 1080. What we're going to do, we're going to go from that. Remember when I talked back, we had, I put in this conference theme as a background. Okay, that's good. But there's a reason I would want to make my background the same as my slide. So here, now my computer background is identical to my presentation. So let's do this first, and then I'm going to tell you why we do this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to escape out of slideshow. Boom. There's my generic background, and we're going to bring this folder over. If you're on Windows, let's go ahead and make these bigger. Extra large. There we go. Here's my image. I know it's probably pretty small, but it tells me this is a PNG image that's 1920 by 1080. I'm just going to right click on it. This is in Windows. Mac, it's very similar. And we're going to just say set as background. Set as desktop background. Let me get this thing out of the way. There's my desktop background now. And now we're set to go. So here's the deal that will make this really, really impressive. As soon as I remember which slide I was on. Which slide was I on? That was in the PowerPoint section. And we're on this right here. Okay, so now here's the deal. You don't know it, but I'm back in slideshow. No one saw it. And there's a reason why this works so well. So I'm going to bring us back here, and we have to actually, I've lost presenter view. Ha ha ha. That was a tricky one. Hold on, bear with me. Get this up here. Okay. And we click that just so we can show it. Okay, here's the reason why. This is the tip part of it. The other stuff was just a setup. You got to do those pieces to get to this presenting tip. If we use PowerPoint to create the image, the desktop and the PowerPoint are the exact same thing. The correct presentation setup, if we've set up our presentation, it's invisible for the audience to know when we've left the presentation and when we've started the presentation. But there's a tip to it. You have to make the first slide with no transition. So let me recap the steps here. We're going to make an image from our slide. We're going to set the computer desktop to that image. In PowerPoint, we're going to make the first slide no transition on the transition area, and this is critical. During a presentation, you go to the home or the end button, so you know the screen's going to be here. You hit escape, and you've now left the presentation. You're free to do work on your other monitor. That's why I recommend the dual monitor thing. And when you want to go back into it, you just have to start at the beginning. If there's a transition, this is just PowerPoint. We can't change it. There's always a fade or an effect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to escape here. I'm going to bring PowerPoint up over here, and we're going to look at this slide. Okay, hold on. Which slide we're on? We're on this slide. So we're going to look at the slide. I'm going to change the transitions. It currently has a, you know what? Let's go all the way up to slide number 1. Let's make this good. No transition. I'm going to add a fade transition. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to start the slideshow here. Now watch the screen. It flashed black. I'm going to escape out. You don't know I've escaped out, but I can't get around showing it. I'll do a wipe. So we've got a wipe transition. I'm going to move this back over. I'm going to start my slideshow again. Hey, it wiped. It shows you whatever it is because it's working from the previous slide. There is no previous slide, so you get this black effect. We're going to go to none. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, you don't know it, but I'm actually in slideshow. It was seamless. The audience doesn't know what happened. You can mask what you're doing here. It's a very cool setup, and it helps you out. Okay, let me get back to my slides where we're at here, and we're going to jump down to, oh, I've got this in the way. PowerPoint, we're at this one right here. Okay, we're going to go to tip number 2. We're going to make the files all about you. Go to, in PowerPoint, you go under File and Options and the General tab. Do a quick time check here. Oh boy. The settings these are really important. You're just going to put your name and your initials. And what happens is, when you hand off the file, if people look at the file properties, they're going to see your name. Not the person who created the template, not someone one of your coworkers, not somebody else's name. It'll be you when you hit save. It'll also work with PDF properties. If you export your file as a PDF, it's going to keep your information in there. So it's just a professional element. So again, as a presenter, make it all about you. Hey, take a look at the PDFs. Make sure, check me. I do have to call this one out here because we're using Office 365. There's when you're in edit view, it tells you different information at the top. That's who's logged into the account. It doesn't necessarily pull from that area. Those are 2 separate areas to identify yourself. The properties for the file come from the File and Options area. This is, if you haven't used pinned files, this is tip number 3, which are available in PowerPoint, Word, and Excel. It's a great feature to take advantage of. Pinned file, it can be local on your computer. It can be a network. It can be a Teams, OneDrive / SharePoint file. A pinned file is just a shortcut to open those files you use the most instantly. No, looking and searching for it, clicking through 5 menus deep. Just we have a whole selection of these that are kind of like preset files that we always use as starters. Highly, highly recommended tool. Okay, number 4 is also quick, and I'm going to demonstrate this 2 ways. So I have a preset example here. I have 3, monitors, 3 videos on it. I'm going to click play, and you're going to hear the problem. So here's the problem. I'm going to click, and now I'm trying to talk over it. You probably can't hear me because these videos are really, really loud. So we've got loud videos. What do we do to fix it? I'm going to escape out of presentation mode. Did you know? Oh, it took me to the next slide, though. Did you know? Actually, you know what? I am going to work on this one because this one's easier. Did you know that every single video and audio file has a built-in volume control? You can make it anything you want. So let's run this at full. I can bring it down to none. Change the video, change your audio file to whatever it is you need. works really good. Okay, I got to bring this back over here, get us back into slideshow mode. You don't have to rely on the computer audio or your audio tech. Whoop, let's stop that. To change the volume, you can do it in your own presentation setup. So if you had 3 videos and one of them is just really loud compared to the others, hey, lower it down, make it set for your presentation. So that helps out there. Okay, really quickly, let me get myself back to seeing presenter view where I want to see presenter view. Hey, Microsoft, I still have this complaint that presenter view, you can't tell it which monitor to go to. It always defaults to monitor 1. I want it on monitor 2, presentation on monitor 3. I'm looking at Eva and the backend system here on monitor 1. We're moving on. Okay, really geeky. Again, I'm just going to cover these really quick. I go to File, Options, and Advanced. This is the list. It's long. There are a lot of options in PowerPoint. The default's not always my favorite. Here's 3 of them that I like to change. One is scroll down to the image and quality and turn off check mark it so it says do not compress images in this file. I personally don't want Microsoft automatically compressing my images. I want to choose when to compress them and which ones to compress. This is one of those files that it's a setting that travels with the file, not your computer. So every time you open up a new file, you probably have to look at this. When we send a template out, this is always check marked so that people aren't seeing compression on compression. I also like to look in the display area. Now, I actually don't remember what the Microsoft defaults are, what PowerPoint comes with, but these are the settings we use. And as example, I don't like the automatically extend my display when using, if I have dual monitors or anything. I like to control when to go to the extended monitor in the slideshow setup. Remember, the PDF has all these so you can reference it later. A third one in this area, and this one's a little bit personal. I don't like this little pop-up toolbar happening. It happens in the lower right. So look, I'm moving my mouse, nothing's popping up because I've turned off show pop-up toolbar. A lot of presenters like it. I personally think it's a distraction, so I generally don't have it unless I know I'm going to need it. Hey, Microsoft, what I think we all would love is all of these tools to be available in presenter view. They're not all available in presenter view. Some are. Now, so there's my notes on that. Moving on. Tip number 6, there's only 7 in PowerPoint. So we're getting down to the wire here. I've got 4 minutes, and then we're going to have Q&A time. This one is wonderful on many levels. The image here is a sample set of slides from one of our sample decks. The important thing is the presentation is using PowerPoint sections. It's those 4 sections right there. Sections, they're a great feature. They are very underutilized. People need to use PowerPoint sections for all kinds of things, not just this. But when you're presenting, sections have a superpower. I am looking at presenter view of that presentation. If I click the slide sorter view so I can, see the whole slide setup, remember, you get to see this, the audience doesn't see this. So you can pick any slide, you can kind of reference things. If you have sections set up, they show up there on the left. Those are navigation points, and you can quickly jump to preset areas in your presentation. As example, like we do, say you have a slide deck of 600 slides and it's for 15 different presenters because it's a very large full day conference and you've got everything strung in one master file deck. You go here, you can find those 15 presenters instantly and jump down instead of scroll to 592 where the last guy talks. Sections, presenter view, great combination. Most people don't know about them. Okay, final PowerPoint tip, and I'm going to cover it a few different ways. This is if you're presenting using one monitor. I understand it's a common scenario for a lot of presenters. I think it's limiting, but there are some things you can do. First of all, presenter view just doesn't work on one monitor unless you know how. So let's talk about how. Option 1 for Windows is if you have that slideshow set up, that slide shows, if you have the pop-up toolbar active, which I don't, so I can't demonstrate this. If you move your mouse around on the screen, get everybody's attention, click the 3 dots, and then you can click Show Presenter View. You are suddenly like, this is your one monitor. You are now presenting. This is great for rehearsing. I did it several times for this when I was clicking through slides. It's just, you just got to know it's there. Even better, in my opinion, if you want to use presenter view and you're on one monitor, just hold down the Alt key and press F5. It opens up your presentation automatically in presenter view. Whether you have 1 or 5 monitors, you'll always get presenter view. Keyboard shortcut, super, super cool. It also works on the Mac. It's called the Option and Return, I think. Actually, I think I wrote Enter because that's what I normally type. But this will start you in presenter view. Again, no matter how many monitors you have, you always start in presenter view on a Mac. Awesome. And now we're going to cover our last topic, Eva, and then we'll take any Q&A with the final few minutes I have left over. Okay, these last tips, they're related to PowerPoint, but I put them kind of in their own category, and I literally just broke these apart about a week ago, so hopefully this comes out smooth. They're related to presenting, and I'm using PowerPoint as my presentation app. So let me, and some of these will work in other apps, especially the first one. So let me cover this way and say we're going to present in Zoom. We've got a presentation we're going to share. This is an amazing trick to know if you don't know it. When you logged into Zoom, you logged into the meeting, you have your presentation running, you're going to click the new share button to share your presentation. Here's part of the tip. And this is where things are different. If you didn't know it, click on the advanced tab up at the top there. Everybody just finds their presentation and clicks it. At the very top there are 3 different tabs. Click the advanced one. See, a lot of you didn't even know it was there, and you've been using Zoom for almost a year solid every day. And there's an option called portion of screen. Super awesome here. We're now in presenter view. The green box is what's being shared. You can now move it. So I'm going to just magically go like that. I just resized it and moved it so it's on the preview of presenter view. The audience is going to see what's in that green box. I now have my full presenter view. I can see my notes. I can use my Zoom tool. The thing you can't use the slide sorter tool anymore. So if you use sections, you're out of luck because it's going to share what's ever in that window because it's literally capturing those pixels. But this is a great way to present in Zoom, especially if you have one monitor. But hold on, there's more. We're going to stay in Zoom. This is kind of part B of this tip. Now that you know that presenter view can be moved around, I mean, you can resize presenter view, and I'm going to cover that in more detail on 2 more tips from now. You click the little restore button. Actually, let me walk through this. You click the little restore button in the top right there, and it's going to let you resize it. So there, that's the button you want to click on. What that'll do is it'll make presenter view its own window. It doesn't have to be full frame. That's how I'm moving it from one monitor to the other. It can now be resized and positioned anyways. How's this for a Zoom setup? I've now put PowerPoint presenter view on like 2/3 of my monitor. I've set the screen share area, the green box for Zoom. I've also added my Zoom chat, my Zoom participant list, and a Zoom webcam all on one monitor. I have a real presentation studio going to help me out in my presentation. Just make sure that that pixel area is not too small. You have to make your notes area smaller because it's a pixel, it's grabbing pixels. You don't want to give it too few, otherwise you look pretty low res. Okay, let's jump to Microsoft Teams. If you saw Sean Villeron earlier today, you saw this feature. Let me talk about it from our perspective. After you've logged into Teams, but before you open your presentation, you're going to click the share button, and then you're going to click the browse, which is in the top right of that area. It has 2 options, upload from my computer and OneDrive. The upload from computer is pretty cool because this tip will only work when the presentation is hosted on OneDrive or SharePoint. So the upload from computer just makes that process automated to whatever account you're logged into. Hopefully it's yours. Now you're basically kind of like what we just talked about in Zoom, that little red marquee, it's pretty minimal. I think Zoom does a better job of highlighting this. This is what the audience sees. You get to see everything else, but here's where it is. This is Microsoft Teams version of PowerPoint. We're not in PowerPoint. So this is Microsoft Teams, not PowerPoint. Teams has its own version of presenter view. So I'm going to call it feature light. It doesn't have everything. If you look at the toolbar down here, not everything's there, but you do add a film strip. If you're on Mac, you get this. On Windows, you don't. It's pretty cool. And one of the key features is that shared area behind the scenes, it's actually grabbing the slide and sending out full resolution. So you're not sending anything a little bit lower. So there are some tips missing, but you do get the webcams of all the audience, whoever's there. This is pretty cool to use in Teams, but you have to use that upload feature. Okay, I got to cover this last one here. Tip number 3 in this category, it's kind of a legacy feature. It's just a leftover, to be very honest. It only works on the desktop PowerPoint app. It only works on the Windows version. And many years ago, PowerPoint added a great feature called broadcast. It was basically ahead of its time, and they've pretty much now disabled it. Our design studio actually got to design a bunch of the demos that Microsoft used for a while, but we're going to leverage this leftover code, and you got to know how to open it. So the only way to start this is you're going to hold the Alt key down. You're going to click the little slideshow button in PowerPoint down the lower right-hand corner. That puts your presentation as a smaller presentation in the top left. You cannot move it. You cannot resize it. But it also has a couple of superpowers. Let's use it as an example. In Teams or Zoom or any other app that has a screen share, go to share your presentation. Now you can share the slideshow, not your desktop, not a portion of. You can say, just do this presentation, and it doesn't matter what's on top of it. This, like Teams, will send a full resolution signal, so you're not worrying about anything else. Okay, I'm just doing this little animation here to kind of show we could cover it up. So here, watch this, very cool motion path. We could cover up that slideshow, even though it's covered up. That's what's going to be shared by the virtual presentation because presenter view controls the presentation that's under it. We could run this way and we don't have to worry about anything else happening. So if we're not doing a Teams element where we use that new presenter view look we just showed, you can do this. This is also great on one monitor setups because you can make presenter view, not the full screen. You put the other stuff off to the side. I'm running out of time. Hey, Lori and Eva, I've got something for you guys coming up here. This is our last one. Audience, I got something for you. Okay, this is the 18th tip. We're going to conclude with this. Our entire team at our office has become a major advocate for Microsoft, a much improved presentation collaboration. We work with a lot of big companies on developing the presentation. Our main workflow has changed to where the presentation is now hosted on Teams, and everyone, I mean, the designers, the presenters, the analysts, the script writers, they're all accessing the presentation at the same time, making their edits and whatnot. But this feature is not often thought of as a presenting tool, and it should be. It's the collaboration tool. So here's what we got. In this presentation, as I'm looking at it, Lori is here. So it tells me that somebody else is in here. I'm presenting, I've got somebody here. She volunteered to wake up early and is gonna help us out. And there are so many things you can do with this. So here's an example. I'm gonna show this screen here. Before I get ahead of myself, Eva, I have these 2 questions for the audience. Everyone is invited to participate. I don't know how to facilitate this, but in the session chat, not the Q&A tab, in the session chat, everybody list what country you're from. So blank is from, attending from, so Troy's attending from San Diego, California, or United States. And then I have a second question is your name and what's your favorite presentation app? And you get to choose from PowerPoint, Google Slides, or Keynote. So everybody go ahead and list off some options there. Now, don't tell me, I don't want to, now look, like a magician, hands up, I'm not touching anything. Lori is logged in. Lori's co-founder of TLC Creative Services, and she's logged in as an attendee. So she's seeing the chat with you guys, and she's going to pick 2 different answers and add them to my presentation while I'm presenting. I am not going to have this happen. This can happen live as we're doing here. But think about this. So hopefully this is going to work. Think about this. You're presenting, and you're presenting the company financials later in the meeting, and the CEO who's ahead of you says, hey, Q4, the company's going to be at 4.4 billion. You're at an oh crap moment because you know your slides say 4.2 billion. I mean, you're way off. The CEO just changed the whole course of the company. So one of your analysts is there, logged into the computer, into the same presentation because you've shared it's collaboration. They're updating your slides live and dynamic before you present. You don't have to stress out. I mean, you have to stress out because you're hoping it's been done. And we have a lot of scenarios where we did this happening here. So as you can see, Vanish from Prague, one of my favorite cities to visit. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is phenomenal.
There's been a lot of action, so I hope that Lori can keep up with all of the answers that we're getting. So obviously the collaboration too is.
Okay, I'm not doing that, but Lori loves. We visited Prague many times. It is a favorite. So the idea is here. You could, Lori, if you could put one more in there, then I got to move on to I got to get out. I'm out of time. We've got less than 3 minutes left before the session's supposed to end, and I'm going to start taking questions. You know what, Eva, give me any questions while Lori puts the final one in there.
So we're currently waiting for the questions because I think
perfect.
people have been commenting quite a lot in the chat. So it's great that you're going to send that PDF. I mean, they're going to receive that PDF, and I have my colleague who is going to just pin it at the beginning of the chat so they can get it and they can then basically exercise and make sure that they try all of these features. I mean, I've been watching the whole chat throughout the whole time, and people are like, wow, like most of these, I would say that most of these settings are small things, but you see how much they can actually help you as a presenter. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this session is as equally important as you preparing yourself to be the speaker, to prepare your PC and to prepare your software for delivering a great presentation. So let's just wait for let's say 30 more seconds to see if we have any questions. Other than that, Troy, Lori are around. I've been seeing them through the 2 days, replying to those. So let's see if you guys have any questions, then they will be, I'm sure they will be happy to chat. But other than
this has been fun. This has been great. I mean, I'm a presentation designer, and we have lots and lots of technology geeky stuff. And I don't normally get talked to, when Boris said this, I was like, yeah, I put together a talk, and it's actually hard to limit it down when I started thinking about it. So this is fun to do more of a tech talk than a presentation design or a presentation skills in PowerPoint type of talk. Thanks.
Yeah, but again, extremely important. So I'm very happy that we managed to have you here to do this, because you are, at least from my experience, and since I've been in the industry, you're the person who gives those very understandable and easy to comprehend talks regarding technology and how you can set up everything you need to deliver a great talk. So
Thanks.
so it's really been great. Everyone, by the way, you are going to also receive the recordings of the sessions, including Troy's session. So we know we've been doing things a little bit faster, maybe, but yeah, have in mind that you're going to be able to check all of these tips and tricks and immediately apply them to your presentation. Here I see a lot of comments. Troy rocks. The tips are amazing. So you've had a fantastic, really a fantastic talk, and I really want to thank you for your session. It's been lovely to listen to it. I personally did not know a few of the tips. Maybe our designers know it. I didn't know some, so I definitely took a note here on my iPad, and I'm going to try it, because definitely I've had some issues with Zoom and how I can share, if I'm just on one screen, how I can share the presentation and still have my presenter mode on. I've tried some maybe more advanced features that did not work well. So hey, here is another thing that I can try.
Just one option. There's lots of them out there. Yeah, take the hard-earned experience. Everybody, make it easier for yourself. This is awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those replays, by the way, because this conference starts at 1 a.m. my time local,
I know,
and I just
yeah.
wasn't up to being up at 1 a.m. So I'm waiting for the records on several of the sessions so I can catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had some people though in the US who woke up specifically for the conference. So it's huge kudos to them for their dedication and waking up that early. But of course, you have your recording, so later on you'll be able to watch the sessions that you are interested in. So thanks a lot, Troy. It's been lovely to have you. A lovely session. Lovely talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks much. Everybody enjoy. Thank you.